Have you ever wondered if someone you love is thinking about you right now? What if I told you that not only can they think of you, but that you can make them do so through the power of your own mind? This is not fantasy. This is spiritual law in action. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to use telepathic conversation to reach your specific person and make them feel your presence no matter the distance. You may not believe this, but I speak from experience, not theory. Years ago, I found myself longing for the presence of someone who, at the time, had seemingly vanished from my world. No contact, no response, just silence. But I knew, deeply knew, that we are not separated by distance or silence, but only by belief. So I did not reach for the phone, I did not plead, I did not chase. Instead, I went within. Each night, I would lie down in my bed and enter the silence. I would imagine her face, vividly, as if she were sitting at the foot of the bed. I spoke to her, not aloud, but with the inner voice, the true voice of the soul. I told her all I wanted her to know, that I loved her, that I forgave her, that we were one. And I heard her answer back. It was not imagination in the sense of fantasy, it was imagination as creation. This was not a game, this was the reality. And as I persisted, day after day, night after night, she wrote to me. Her first words, "I can't stop thinking about you. It's as if you've been speaking to me all along." And indeed, I had. By assuming your specific person is thinking about you, you impress this belief into the subconscious, which mirrors it in physical form. Mental conversations are real conversations, spiritually and vibrationally. They influence the behavior of others without direct contact. You must think from the end, not of the desire, but from it. Feel the reality of their thoughts being occupied with you. There is no separation between souls. Distance, silence, and time are illusions of the senses. In imagination, you are already united. You do not beg, force, or manipulate. You assume, and through assumption, you become magnetic to your specific person. Speak internally with clarity and certainty. Emotions amplify the message you're sending through the spiritual medium. Persistence is key. The outer world will conform to your inner conversation if you do not waver in your inner knowing. Imagine for a moment that there is no barrier between your thoughts and the thoughts of another. No distance, no time, no physical separation, only the unbroken connection of mind and spirit. In this space, your imagination is not a tool for mere daydreams, but the means by which you command reality. When you truly understand that your imagination is the medium for telepathic communication, you unlock a power within yourself that is greater than any external circumstance. You see, imagination is not a fantasy or a mere distraction. It is the creative force that shapes all things. And when you learn to use it consciously, you'll find that you can influence not only your own life, but the lives of others, no matter the distance between you. The power of imagination is not bound by time, space, or physical matter. It is the very substance of reality, and it is through this power that you are able to create a connection with someone, even if they are miles away, or if there has been silence between you for years. Your imagination is your direct link to them, your bridge to their thoughts, feelings, and actions. You may wonder how this can be true, but the answer lies in the understanding that everything in your world, including the minds of others, is shaped by the assumptions you hold. When you think about someone, you are not just having a fleeting thought. You are creating a mental image, a picture, a reality in your mind. This image is not idle, it is potent. It is the seed from which the manifestation will grow. You may not consciously realize it, but the moment you hold a mental image of someone, you have already begun to influence their thoughts and actions. Just as you can think of them, they too will begin to think of you. This is not coincidence or magic, but the law of mind in action. The mind, especially the subconscious mind, does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. This is a crucial point to understand. When you imagine that your specific person is thinking about you, your subconscious mind takes that assumption as truth. And just like any other assumption, it will find ways to bring it into physical reality. The moment you assume that your specific person is thinking of you, your mind sets the wheels of manifestation in motion. The law of assumption is clear. What you assume to be true, whether positive or negative, will manifest in your experience. Now think about it for a moment. When you are separated from someone, whether by miles or circumstances, the usual tendency is to think that the absence means separation and that communication requires physical action. We are taught that to make someone think about us, we must contact them, reach out, or try to initiate something in the external world. But the truth is far simpler than that. Communication doesn't begin with an external action. It begins within you. The first step is to realize that imagination is not a passive activity. It is the creative force of the universe. Your imagination is the medium through which you reach your specific person. Every time you close your eyes and imagine their face, their words, their emotions, every time you feel the warmth of their presence in your mind, you are engaging in a telepathic conversation. You are not merely fantasizing about them, you are sending out a signal, a call to which their subconscious will respond. Think about it this way. When you imagine your specific person thinking about you, it is not an isolated event. Your imagination acts as a radio signal, broadcasting to their mind. Just as a radio wave travels across the airwaves carrying a message, your thoughts carry vibrations that influence others. When you assume they are thinking of you, you are sending out the frequency of that assumption, and their subconscious mind will begin to pick up on it. It's as though your imagination is the communication device, and their subconscious is the receiver. But there's more to it than simply imagining that they are thinking of you. The key is in the feeling. You must not only see them thinking of you in your mind, but you must also feel the truth of it. This is where many people falter. They imagine the person thinking of them, but they do not believe it. The feeling of belief, the knowing that they are thinking of you, is what charges the assumption and makes it real. It's like planting a seed in the soil. If you do not believe that the seed will grow, you will not nourish it with the proper care and attention. But if you plant it with the full conviction that it will sprout, then it must do so. Similarly, when you assume that they are thinking of you, you must carry that assumption with the full belief and conviction that it is already true. The moment you do this, you will begin to see evidence in your external world that mirrors this assumption. You may notice subtle changes at first. Maybe they start to think about you more often, or perhaps they suddenly reach out to you. These events are not coincidences. They are the physical manifestation of the thought energy you have put into motion. The more you persist in your assumption, the more you will see it reflected in the outer world. So understand this, your imagination is not merely a tool for entertainment. It is the means by which you communicate with others on a deep subconscious level. It is the key to making someone think about you, to creating the conditions that draw them to you. All you need to do is close your eyes, assume the feeling of their thoughts on you, and trust in the power of your imagination. And just as surely as the sun rises, your assumption will become their reality. Remember, the outer world is merely a reflection of what you believe to be true. The moment you believe with all your heart that your specific person is thinking about you, you set the process in motion. They must think of you. They must reach out to you. They must be drawn to you. This is the power of your imagination in action. It is the ultimate form of telepathic communication, and it is always available to you. When you choose to communicate with someone through your imagination, you are not simply indulging in wishful thinking or daydreams. The act of assuming that your specific person is thinking about you is not a passive one. It is an active engagement with the creative power of the mind. You are impressing an assumption upon your subconscious mind, which in turn shapes your outer reality. The truth is, the moment you make that assumption, you have already begun the process of manifestation. Your inner world has set the stage for the outer world to reflect it back to you. The world outside of you is nothing more than the mirror image of your internal state. And this is the fundamental truth of manifestation. Your assumptions create the reality you experience. When you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, your subconscious mind, which is the source of all creation, accepts that assumption as fact. This is the point where the magic begins. When your subconscious mind accepts something as true, it moves to align your outer world to match that belief. It will orchestrate events, shift energies, and guide you to experiences that confirm your assumption. You may wonder, why does this happen? Why does the world seem to bend in alignment with what you assume? The answer lies in the power of belief. Belief is not a passive force, but an active one. It governs every experience you have. When you assume with full conviction that your specific person is thinking about you, you are activating the force of belief. You are, in essence, commanding your subconscious mind to bring this assumption into physical reality. The outer world must conform because it is merely a reflection of what is happening in your mind. It is not enough to simply think about your specific person occasionally or to entertain the idea now and then. To make this assumption effective, you must embody it fully. It must become part of your inner world, your reality. Every time you think of your specific person, you must see them thinking of you. It's not enough to casually wish for their thoughts to be on you. You must live from the assumption that they are thinking of you. You must feel it deeply as though it is already true. When you do this, you create a vibration within yourself that the universe responds to. Your thoughts, charged with emotion, become the catalyst that will draw your specific person to you. This is not an abstract idea. It is the law of creation in action. Your mind is the creator, and the world around you is the created. When you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, you are simply aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. The law is not based on hope or luck. It is based on assumption and belief. When you believe that something is true, your mind must find ways to make it true. And so, your specific person will begin to think about you. They will feel the energy you are sending out, even if they are miles away. This is not magic. This is the law of mind. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not only imagining the event, but embodying it. You are stepping into the world where this assumption is already a reality. Your assumption of your specific person thinking about you should feel as real as any other experience in your life. This is where many people make the mistake. They assume they are only imagining things, and so their imagination remains weak and ineffective. But when you truly believe in your assumption, when you feel the reality of it in your heart, you are charging your imagination with the power to create. Your mind cannot differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. So when you live from the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, your mind accepts it as reality, and it must unfold accordingly. You must understand that the subconscious mind is like a fertile garden. Whatever you plant in it, it will grow. If you plant the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, then that assumption will take root and begin to manifest in your reality. But just as with any seed, you must nurture it with attention and belief. Every time you think of your specific person, reinforce the belief that they are thinking of you. Every time you feel the desire for them to reach out, assume that they already are. You are not waiting for the external world to change. You are changing your internal world first. It is the assumption that creates the reality. The more you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, the more your external world will begin to mirror that assumption. They will think about you because you have assumed it to be true. Your thoughts have sent out a signal, and their subconscious mind will begin to respond. It is as simple as that. When you embody the assumption, you are not asking for permission or waiting for some external sign. You are commanding the universe to bring you the reality you have already created in your mind. This process is not something that takes time or effort. It does not require you to manipulate the person or try to control them. The only thing required is that you hold firm in your assumption. Your power lies in your ability to remain unwavering in your belief. Your thoughts are powerful, but they must be accompanied by unwavering belief. It is this belief that causes the assumption to be accepted by the subconscious mind, and once it is accepted, the world must conform. So remember this: the world outside of you is not separate from the world inside of you. Your thoughts shape your reality, and when you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, your assumption becomes the seed from which your manifestation grows. When you feel it to be true, when you believe it with all your heart, your external world will reflect it. Your specific person will begin to think about you because you have already created it within your mind. Your assumption is the key, and the moment you assume it, the world must conform. This is the power of your imagination. This is the law of assumption in action. When you engage in mental conversations with someone, you must realize that these conversations are not merely figments of imagination. They are the most powerful form of communication you can partake in. When you consciously create a mental dialogue with your specific person, you are not simply thinking or fantasizing, you are creating an actual spiritual connection with them. This connection is real as any spoken word or written letter. Through mental conversation, you are impressing upon their subconscious mind, and this impression will eventually materialize in your external world. The mind works in a way that is not governed by the limitations of time and space. This is a fundamental truth to grasp. When you have a mental conversation with your specific person, the conversation is taking place in the realm of the subconscious, which operates outside the confines of physical boundaries. There is no distance too great, no time too long to interrupt the flow of this communication. It is happening right now, in this moment, as vividly as any conversation you might have in person. The key to unlocking the power of this mental conversation is in your ability to believe it as real, to feel it as real, and to persist in that belief until it is reflected back to you in the external world. You must approach these mental conversations with the understanding that they are not one-sided. You are not simply imagining yourself speaking to your specific person, you are imagining a two-way interaction. You must hear their response in your mind, feel their emotions, and engage with them as though they were physically present. The strength of this interaction lies in the authenticity of the mental exchange. When you imagine this conversation, you must not allow it to be shallow or weak. It must feel as real as any conversation you have had with them in the past. The more real it feels to you, the more powerful it becomes. And the more powerful the conversation, the more effectively it influences the subconscious mind of your specific person. The reason mental conversations are so effective is because they bypass the logical mind and speak directly to the subconscious. The subconscious is the creative force that governs your reality, and it does not question or doubt the information it receives. When you mentally converse with your specific person, you are speaking directly to their subconscious mind. The subconscious mind of another person is just as susceptible to suggestion as your own. So when you speak to them mentally, you are planting seeds in their mind that will grow and manifest in their actions. This is why mental conversations are so powerful. You are not waiting for the right moment to physically speak to them. You are creating the ideal moment in your mind. You are not waiting for them to reach out to you. You are initiating the conversation yourself within the realm of your imagination. And because your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined, the assumption that this conversation is taking place in the present moment will eventually be reflected in the external world. The key to success with mental conversations is to feel the conversation, not just think it. Imagination alone is not enough. You must imbue the mental conversation with emotion, with the feeling that this exchange is genuine, meaningful, and important. This feeling is what powers the assumption. It is the emotional charge that you attach to the mental conversation that will determine how quickly and effectively the manifestation will take place. You may have noticed that when you are deeply engaged in a mental conversation, the thoughts flow easily and the responses from your specific person come effortlessly. This is because you have allowed the conversation to flow from the subconscious mind, where everything is fluid and continuous. It is not forced, it is natural. The more you practice these mental conversations, the more natural they will feel, and the more you will begin to see them reflected in the outer world. Another important aspect of mental conversation is to be clear in your intentions. When you mentally converse with your specific person, make sure that the conversation serves a clear purpose. What do you want to achieve in the conversation? Do you want to resolve a conflict, express your love, or simply create an emotional connection? Whatever your intention, hold it firmly in your mind as you engage in the mental conversation. The more focused your intention, the more powerful the conversation becomes. You must also remember that mental conversations are not a means of manipulation. They are not about controlling the other person's thoughts or actions. The goal is not to make them act against their will or force them into a specific behavior. The goal is to create an alignment between your own subconscious mind and the subconscious mind of your specific person. When you engage in mental conversations, you are not trying to make the person think or feel something they do not want to. You are simply aligning your thoughts with what you desire, and in doing so, you are creating a vibrational match between yourself and your specific person. As you continue to engage in mental conversations, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your external reality. You may notice that your specific person begins to reach out to you more, that they start to think of you more frequently, or that they begin to act in ways that align with the conversation you've had in your mind. This is the power of the subconscious mind at work. The more real the conversation feels to you, the more real it becomes in your external world. In the beginning, it may seem difficult to believe that mental conversations are truly powerful, but remember, this is not a process of convincing yourself or forcing the other person to think of you. It is about aligning your inner world with the desired outcome. When you assume that this conversation is happening, you are creating the conditions in which it must occur. As you persist, the assumption will become more and more natural, and the external world will begin to reflect it. The more you practice mental conversations, the more you will come to understand the profound power of your mind. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions shape your reality. And when you consciously engage in mental conversations with your specific person, you are not just imagining a conversation. You are creating a reality in which that conversation is already taking place. Through the power of your imagination, you are influencing the subconscious mind of another. And in doing so, you are bringing your desires to life. The process of manifestation is rooted in the law of assumption, a law that governs the very fabric of reality. To truly understand how to make your specific person think about you, you must first grasp the concept of living from the end. This is a concept that may seem simple at first, but it is incredibly powerful when applied with deep understanding. Living from the end is the key to making your assumptions real, and it is the difference between wishful thinking and true manifestation. To live from the end is to assume, in the present moment, that your desire is already fulfilled. It is not about hoping for the future or wishing that something will happen. It is about embodying the state of the wish fulfilled right now in this very moment. When you live from the end, you are not trying to make something happen in the future. You are creating the experience of it in the present. You are stepping into the feeling of the wish already being realized. This is the heart of manifestation, the ability to shift your state of consciousness to one where the desired outcome is not something that will come to you later, but something that is already true in your life. When you think of your specific person, and you desire for them to think of you, you must not think of it as something that you hope will happen. Instead, you must assume that they are already thinking of you. The moment you assume this, you are living from the end. You are no longer in the state of longing or desire, you are in the state of fulfillment. You are not waiting for them to think about you, you are already living in the reality where they do. This shift in perception is crucial. When you live from the end, you align your inner world with the outer world. The outer world cannot help but reflect back to you the assumptions you hold in your mind. If you assume that your specific person is thinking about you right now, You are already in that state. You are already experiencing their thoughts, their attention, and their affection, even though it may not yet be physically visible. But remember, the physical world is simply a reflection of the inner world. So, by living from the end, you are actively creating the conditions for that assumption to become reality. Many people struggle with the concept of living from the end because they focus too much on the gap between the assumption and the physical evidence of it. They think, but they aren't thinking of me right now, so how can I live from the end? The key to overcoming this doubt is to realize that the outer world always follows the inner world. If you truly believe that your specific person is thinking about you, that assumption will be reflected in their action. It is not about seeing physical evidence first. It is about embodying the state of fulfillment first and trusting that the evidence will follow. This is the power of assumption. It is the ability to hold a belief in your mind and to live from that belief as though it is already true. When you live from the end, you align yourself with the energy of your desire, and that energy cannot help but draw your specific person to you. They may not be thinking about you right now, but as you live in the assumption that they are, the world must adjust to your inner state. It is inevitable. Living from the end requires faith. It requires you to trust in the unseen, in the invisible forces that are shaping your reality. You must not allow the absence of physical evidence to shake your belief. When you live from the end, you are stepping into a state of mind that is already in alignment with your desire. You are not looking for confirmation from the outside world. You are the one who determines what is true for you. The more you live from the end, the more the external world will begin to reflect the assumptions you are holding. The power of assumption works because it bypasses the logical mind and speaks directly to the subconscious. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. When you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, your subconscious mind accepts that assumption as fact. And once the subconscious accepts something as true, it begins to rearrange your external world to match that belief. This is why it is so important to live from the end. Because when you do, you are planting the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Many people find it difficult to live from the end because they are too focused on what is not happening in the physical world. They may see their specific person not thinking about them and assume that nothing is changing. But this is where the mistake lies. The physical world is a reflection of the inner world. The key is not to wait for the physical world to change first. The key is to change your inner world, to live from the end, and to trust that the outer world will follow. Living from the end also means that you are not attached to how or when the manifestation will unfold. You are not concerned with the details of how your specific person will begin to think about you. You simply assume that they are, and you live in the feeling of that assumption. When you do this, you are letting go of the need to control the process. You are allowing the universe to bring your desire to you in the best possible way. Your job is not to figure out the how. It is to live as though your desire is already fulfilled. The moment you step into that state of mind, the outer world must reflect it back to you. Living from the end is not a passive exercise. It is an active engagement with the creative power of your mind. It requires you to embody the state of your desire, to feel the reality of it, and to live in alignment with that feeling. When you do this, you are not waiting for the world to change. You are changing the world from within. And as you continue to live from the end, you will see your specific person begin to think about you, because you have already created the inner conditions for that to happen. The power of assumption is that potent. When you live from the end, you are living in the state of fulfillment. And that state must eventually manifest in the external world. When you set the intention for your specific person to think about you, it is crucial that you develop an unwavering belief in the power of your imagination. The creative power of your imagination is not limited to the things you can see or touch. It is a force that transcends the material world. When you truly understand that your imagination is the key to shaping your reality, you will realize that everything you desire, including the thoughts and attention of your specific person, can be brought into being through this powerful mental faculty. Your imagination is not just a tool for idle daydreaming, it is the engine that drives the creation of your reality. Imagination is not a passive experience, but an active force. When you consciously imagine that your specific person is thinking about you, you are sending a message to your subconscious mind, which in turn shapes your outer world to reflect this assumption. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is imagined and what is real. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it. This is why it is so important to use your imagination deliberately, especially when you are manifesting something as specific as the thoughts of another person. The key to using your imagination effectively is to make the experience of your specific person thinking about you feel as real as possible. When you close your eyes and imagine them thinking about you, do not merely picture it as an abstract idea. Feel it. Feel the emotion that would accompany their thoughts. Imagine what it would be like to know that they are thinking about you, and let that feeling permeate your entire being. This emotional charge is what breathes life into your imagination, and it is what propels the assumption you are impressing upon your subconscious mind into the realm of reality. When you imagine your specific person thinking about you, do not allow doubt or skepticism to enter your mind. These feelings only weaken the potency of your imagination. The moment you entertain doubt, you dilute the power of your assumption. If you truly believe that they are thinking about you, your mind will work tirelessly to bring that assumption into being. The subconscious mind does not question the validity of your assumptions. It simply responds to them. So, the more vividly and emotionally you imagine your specific person thinking about you, the more likely it is that this assumption will be realized in the external world. Another critical aspect of using your imagination is to practice persistence. Manifestation is not about having a fleeting thought once in a while and then forgetting about it. To manifest the thoughts of your specific person, you must impress the assumption of their thoughts upon your subconscious mind repeatedly. Every time you think about them, reinforce the assumption that they are thinking about you. You must dwell in the feeling that they are thinking about you until it becomes your dominant belief. When this assumption becomes your dominant belief, it must manifest in your reality. The subconscious mind is constantly at work, shaping the external world to match the assumptions it holds. Therefore, the more consistently you imagine your specific person thinking about you, the more likely it is that this will become their reality as well. It is important to remember that the imagination is a tool that operates without time or space. When you imagine your specific person thinking about you, this is happening in the realm of your mind. Outside the constraints of time, the past, present, and future are all the same to the subconscious mind, and the moment you impress the assumption of their thoughts upon your mind, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious. That seed will eventually grow and begin to manifest in the physical world, regardless of when you initiated the assumption. When you imagine your specific person thinking about you, you are not bound by physical distance. It does not matter where they are, whether they are near or far. The power of imagination transcends all boundaries. It is not necessary to wait for external conditions to change. The moment you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, the process of manifestation begins. Your imagination creates a connection between you and your specific person that is felt on a subconscious level. Their thoughts about you are being influenced by the assumption you are impressing upon your mind. There is no limit to what you can achieve when you use your imagination consciously and with intention. Your thoughts are not passive. They are the driving force behind the creation of your reality. If you want your specific person to think about you, you must engage your imagination fully. Do not merely think about it as a distant possibility. Do not treat it as something that might happen. Imagine it as though it is already true. Your imagination is the bridge between your inner world and your outer world. The more real it feels in your mind, the more quickly it will be reflected in your physical reality. It is also essential to let go of any attachment to the how of the manifestation. The process of manifestation is not about figuring out the exact way in which your specific person will start thinking about you. It is about assuming with full belief and conviction that they are already thinking about you. You do not need to control how or when it will happen. Your only job is to remain steadfast in your assumption, to continue imagining it as true, and to trust that the universe will bring your desire into fruition in the best possible way. As you continue to use your imagination to impress the assumption of your specific person thinking about you upon your subconscious mind, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your external reality. Perhaps you will start receiving signs that they are indeed thinking of you. Or maybe they will begin to reach out to you in ways that you had not anticipated. Whatever form the manifestation takes, know that it is the result of your persistent assumption and the power of your imagination at work. By understanding and using the power of your imagination, you can bring any desire into your reality. You are the creator of your own experience, and your imagination is the tool you use to shape your world. If you desire your specific person to think about you, all you need to do is imagine it, feel it, and persist in that assumption. The power of your imagination is limitless, and through its focused use, you can bring any desire to life, including the thoughts and attention of your specific person. When you begin to understand that the mind is a powerful creator, you quickly realize that your dominant thoughts shape the course of your reality. Every single thought, whether conscious or unconscious, is a seed that eventually manifests into your life. If you wish for your specific person to think about you, the process begins not with them, but with you, specifically with the thoughts that you consistently hold in your mind. The importance of controlling and directing your thoughts cannot be overstated, because your thoughts are the blueprint for your experiences. What you need to grasp first is that your thoughts are the creative force behind all that manifests in your life. If you want to influence your specific person's thoughts and make them think about you, it is not about waiting for the external world to change, nor is it about trying to manipulate them directly. It all begins with you controlling your own thoughts and assumptions about them. When you hold a strong assumption about your specific person, the power of your belief system will impress upon their subconscious mind, making them think of you. This is the fundamental truth of how creation works. You are not waiting for the outside world to align with your desires. You are the one who must align with your desires first. The secret lies in the consistency and persistence of your mental focus. If you allow your thoughts to wander or fluctuate from the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, you will not achieve the desired result. To manifest your specific person's thoughts, you must hold the assumption that they are thinking about you as consistently as possible. This consistency is not about forcing yourself to think of them, but about continuously returning to the belief that they are already thinking about you, even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. Every time you catch yourself thinking contrary to this belief, you must redirect your thoughts back to the assumption that they are indeed thinking of you. It is through this steady discipline of thought that the manifestation will eventually take root. The subconscious mind, which is the creative force behind all manifestation, does not question or argue with what is impressed upon it. If you consistently hold the belief that your specific person is thinking about you, your subconscious will accept this belief as fact. Over time, this assumption will begin to influence their actions and thoughts, causing them to think about you as you have assumed. However, the power of the subconscious mind is not just in the belief, it is in the feeling that accompanies it. The feeling you attach to your assumption is the driving force that propels it into manifestation. If you simply think that your specific person is thinking about you without attaching any emotional charge to it, your thoughts will be weak and ineffective. But when you fill your thoughts with the feeling of them thinking about you, when you make it feel real to you, that is when the magic happens. This emotional charge, the feeling of having your desire already fulfilled, is the catalyst for manifestation. Your subconscious mind is far more attuned to feelings than to mere words or thoughts. When you combine the thought of your specific person thinking about you with the powerful emotion of already having that reality, your subconscious mind is deeply impressed. This is how creation works, not through wishing, but through the assumption of the end result, combined with the emotional conviction that it is already a fact. The external world, including the behavior of your specific person, will eventually align with your inner assumption. They will begin to think of you, to reach out to you, or to behave in ways that reflect the mental conversation you've been having with yourself. But this will not happen immediately. The key is to persist in your assumption and to remain unwavering in your belief. The longer you persist in the feeling that they are thinking about you, the stronger the impression on your subconscious mind becomes, and the more quickly the external world will begin to mirror your inner assumptions. You must also recognize that this process is not about controlling or manipulating the specific person's thoughts. The law of attraction is not about forcing anyone to do something against their will. It is about aligning your inner world with your desires and allowing the universe to bring your desires into form. When you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, you are not trying to manipulate their free will. Rather, you are simply aligning your own subconscious mind with the assumption of your desire. Your thoughts and beliefs influence not only your reality, but also the reality of those around you. By focusing on the thought of them thinking about you, you are creating the conditions for that reality to unfold naturally. The process requires patience and faith. You may not see immediate results, and at times the evidence in the external world may seem to contradict your assumptions, but you must not let this dissuade you. Manifestation is a process that happens in its own time, not according to your schedule. The key is to trust the process and to continue living in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. The more consistently you hold this assumption, the more quickly it will materialize in your reality. Remember, every thought you have is a seed. You are the gardener of your own mind. If you allow seeds of doubt, fear, or disbelief to take root, they will manifest in your life. But if you plant seeds of assumption, combined with the feeling of fulfillment, you will eventually see the garden of your desires bloom before your eyes. Your specific person thinking about you is not a far-off dream. It is a reality that you can create with the power of your thoughts and feelings. The law of assumption is not about trying to control the outside world or forcing a specific person to behave in a particular way. It is about controlling your thoughts, assuming that your desire is already fulfilled, and aligning your inner world with your outer reality. Your thoughts are creative, and when you hold the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, you are setting in motion the events that will bring that assumption into being. It is not a question of if, but of when. The key to success lies in your consistency and your emotional commitment to your assumptions. If you remain steadfast in your belief and continue to nurture the feeling that your specific person is already thinking about you, you will see the manifestation unfold before you. The idea of feeling is the secret is not merely a phrase. It is the very foundation of creation. The reason that feeling plays such a crucial role in manifestation is because it is the emotional state that propels the desire into form. Thought alone is not enough. Without the emotional charge of belief and certainty, a thought remains an abstract idea, disconnected from reality. When you desire for your specific person to think about you, the process of bringing that desire to fruition does not rely solely on imagining or thinking that they will. It depends on your ability to infuse that thought with feeling, the feeling that you already have what you want. When you think about your specific person, do not think of it as something you wish for, something you hope will happen. This weakens the energy behind your desire. Instead, think of it as something that is already a fact. Feel the reality of it, as if it is already manifested. This is the power of assumption in its most potent form. Feeling that your specific person is already thinking about you creates a magnetic force that draws your desire closer to you. The mind and body cannot differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you truly feel that they are thinking about you, your body reacts to that feeling as if it is already happening. And because your mind and body are in alignment with that feeling, the external world must reflect it back to you. It is essential to understand that this feeling must be consistent. Manifestation is not about thinking something once and expecting it to appear. It is about impressing your subconscious mind repeatedly with the emotional feeling of your desire fulfilled. When you experience the feeling of your specific person thinking about you, it becomes a dominant belief in your mind. The stronger the feeling, the more power it holds, and the quicker it manifests in the physical world. If you allow your feelings to fluctuate from doubt to hope or from certainty to uncertainty, you undermine the power of the assumption. Your belief, backed by the consistent emotional charge of fulfillment, will bring the reality of your desire into being. The emotional state you embody creates the energy field that shapes your reality. Think of it this way. Your feelings are the bridge between the mind and the physical world. They are the magnetic force that pulls your desire closer to you. If you feel that your specific person is thinking about you, this feeling sends out an energetic signal that the universe responds to. The universe in turn aligns with this vibration and brings your desire into physical form. This is why feeling is so crucial. Without it, your thoughts are just thoughts. But with feeling, those thoughts become a magnetic force that draws your desire to you. The feeling you generate does not need to be overly intense or dramatic. It simply needs to be real and genuine to you. The feeling of them thinking about you could be one of excitement, peace, or even just a gentle knowing that it is already true. This emotional state, no matter how subtle, is powerful because it is felt by your subconscious mind and impressed upon it as a truth. The more you feel this state of fulfillment, the more ingrained it becomes in your subconscious, and the quicker your external world will reflect it. To manifest your specific person's thoughts, you must enter into the feeling of them already thinking about you. You cannot wait for external evidence to create the feeling. This is the mistake many people make. They wait for something to happen in the external world before they allow themselves to feel that it is true. But manifestation works the opposite way. You must create the feeling first, and then the evidence will follow. The law of attraction is a reflection of the law of assumption. When you assume that your specific person is thinking about you and live in the feeling that this is true, the universe must respond by aligning the outer world with this assumption. Let us consider this for a moment. Imagine you're already in a relationship with your specific person, and you feel that they are constantly thinking about you. Feel the joy, the connection, the knowing that their thoughts are with you. The moment you enter into this state of feeling, you are no longer waiting for something to happen. You are living in the reality where it has already occurred. This shift in perception is everything. You are no longer a passive observer of your desire. You are an active creator, living in the state of your desire fulfilled. And when you continue to maintain this emotional state, the external world will begin to reflect your assumption. The power of feeling is not just a mystical concept. It is based on the fundamental laws of how creation works. Your feelings create vibrations, and these vibrations send out signals to the universe. The universe responds to these signals by rearranging the circumstances, people, and events in your life to match the vibrational frequency you are emitting. If you feel that your specific person is thinking about you, the universe must begin to align with this feeling. People, circumstances, and events will begin to line up in such a way that your specific person will indeed begin to think about you. You might wonder, what if I don't feel it strongly enough? It's important to remember that the feeling does not need to be overwhelming. Even a subtle shift in emotion can be enough. The key is consistency. The more often you enter into the feeling of having your desire fulfilled, the more powerful your manifestation becomes. If you persist in the feeling of them thinking about you, the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. This process of using feeling to manifest your desires is not confined to any one situation or person. It works for everything because feeling is the universal language of creation. It transcends time, space, and circumstance. Whether you desire your specific person to think about you or anything else, the feeling of fulfillment is the key that unlocks the door to manifestation. It is your emotional alignment with your desires that sets the creative process into motion. To manifest your specific person's thoughts, you must begin by feeling that they are already thinking about you. Live in that emotional state as if it is already true. The more you practice this, the more natural it will become. You will find that your specific person begins to think about you because you have already created that reality in your inner world. Your feelings are not just fleeting emotions. They are the creative force that shapes your reality. They are the glue that holds your assumptions together. And when you align your feelings with the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, that reality must be reflected back to you. This process of creating through feeling is one of the most powerful tools you can use to manifest your desires. It is not about forcing, struggling, or hoping. It is about living from the end, feeling your desire as already fulfilled, and allowing the universe to bring it into being. Your feelings are the secret. Your feelings are the key to unlocking the manifestation of your specific person's thoughts and everything else you desire. The power of your imagination to create and shape your external reality lies in your ability to persist in the assumption of your desire despite any external evidence to the contrary. This persistent assumption is the foundation of manifestation. You cannot rely on fleeting moments of inspiration or bursts of desire to bring about lasting change in your life. To truly bring your specific person's thoughts toward you, you must be unwavering in your belief that it is already happening, regardless of the present circumstances. It is through persistence that your internal world is impressed upon your subconscious mind, which then shapes your external reality. When you decide that you want your specific person to think about you, you must cultivate a state of mind where this assumption is taken as fact. This is not about hoping or wishing for them to think about you. It is about entering the state where you are so certain, so convinced that they are already thinking about you, that your belief becomes an unshakable truth in your mind. The more you persist in this assumption, the more your external world will reflect this belief. Persistence in this sense is not a matter of force. It is a matter of remaining steady in the belief that what you desire is already yours. It is important to understand that persistence is not about repeatedly affirming or reciting words in a mechanical way. It is about holding a constant mental attitude that your desire is already a reality. The thoughts you choose to entertain, the images you allow your mind to dwell on, and the feelings you attach to those thoughts will determine the results you experience. If you consistently and persistently entertain the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, that assumption will gradually become your dominant belief, and your subconscious mind will work to bring that belief into reality. Imagine this assumption as a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Just like any seed, it needs time, attention, and nurturing to grow. If you plant a seed and then repeatedly doubt its ability to grow, you will stunt its development. The same principle applies to your desires. If you assume that your specific person is thinking about you, but doubt the possibility of this assumption coming to fruition, you are counteracting the process of manifestation. On the other hand, if you persist in your assumption and feel the reality of it with conviction, the seed will grow into a tangible result. Persistence is not about continually trying to control every external circumstance in order to make the manifestation happen. It is about maintaining a mental state that is aligned with your desire. It is easy to be swayed by what you see in the external world, but true persistence involves staying grounded in the belief that your desire is already a fact, even when there is no physical evidence to support it. This unwavering belief, held over time, impresses the subconscious mind so strongly that it cannot help but bring the desired outcome into your life. When you persist in the assumption that your specific person is thinking about you, you are not only changing your inner state, but also altering the energy you project outward. The more consistently you entertain the assumption of their thoughts, the more aligned you become with that reality. This shift in energy will eventually be felt by your specific person, even if they are unaware of it. The universe responds to your inner state of being, and when you persist in the assumption that they are thinking about you, this assumption begins to shape their reality as well. One of the keys to understanding persistence is recognizing that manifestation does not occur through struggle. You are not forcing the outcome into being, you are allowing it to unfold naturally by living in the assumption of its truth. Persistence is the act of maintaining a steady focus on your desired outcome, not through constant effort, but through the consistent belief that it is already yours. In this way, persistence becomes effortless. It becomes a natural state of being, a state where your belief is so firmly rooted that it can no longer be shaken by external events. The external world may take some time to catch up with your inner assumption, but that does not mean your desire is not being manifested. The process of manifestation happens in the unseen realms first, and the results will eventually manifest in the physical world. The key is to trust that the process is working, even when you cannot yet see the evidence. Persistence means continuing to live from the state of assumption, even when your senses may tell you otherwise. The more you do this, the more the physical world will begin to reflect the assumption you have made. It is also vital to understand that persistence does not mean repeating the same affirmation or mental image over and over. It means living in the state of knowing that your specific person is already thinking about you. You must make this assumption so real in your mind that it becomes your dominant thought and feeling. The more you persist in this mental state, the more it becomes ingrained in your subconscious mind, and the more the external world will begin to reflect this belief. As you continue to persist in your assumption, you may notice small changes in your reality. These changes may initially seem insignificant, but they are the first signs that your desire is taking shape. Perhaps your specific person will send you a text message, or you might start feeling more connected to them in subtle ways. These signs are not to be ignored. They are the evidence that your persistence is paying off, and that the assumption is beginning to take hold in your external reality. Persistence also means not allowing doubt to take root in your mind. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation. It weakens the assumption and causes it to lose its power. When doubt arises, you must immediately redirect your thoughts back to the assumption that your specific person is already thinking about you. This requires practice and discipline, but it is through this practice that you will master the art of persistent assumption. As you continue to persist in your assumption, you will eventually find that your specific person's thoughts about you begin to align with the belief you have held. The more persistent you are in living from the assumption that they are thinking about you, the more you will see the external reality shift to match that assumption. This is the power of persistence. Through steady, unwavering belief, you create the conditions for your desires to manifest. The act of persistence in the assumption is not a matter of forcing an outcome, but of aligning your mind and emotions with the desired result. It is through this alignment that manifestation occurs. As you persist, your desire will become more and more real to you, and the external world will eventually reflect your inner state of being. The more persistent you are, the more quickly your desire will unfold before you. In conclusion, the power to manifest your desires, including making your specific person think about you, lies within your own mind and emotions. The process begins with the understanding that your thoughts and feelings are the creative forces that shape your reality. It is not about manipulating the external world or trying to control others. It is about aligning your internal state with your desires and maintaining a persistent assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. Every thought you entertain, every feeling you embody, creates the conditions for manifestation. Your thoughts are seeds, and the feelings you attach to those thoughts act as the fuel that propels them into reality. To bring your specific person's thoughts toward you, you must live in the feeling that they are already thinking about you, without wavering in doubt or uncertainty. Consistency and persistence in your assumption are the keys to bringing this desire to fruition. The more you nurture this assumption, the more it becomes ingrained in your subconscious mind, and the more your external world will begin to reflect it. Remember, manifestation is not a struggle. It is a process of aligning with the state of already having what you desire. When you consistently live in the assumption of your specific person thinking about you, the universe has no choice but to mirror that inner state in your outer reality. Through the power of imagination, the law of assumption, and the feeling of fulfillment, you can create the reality you desire. It is through your thoughts, feelings, and persistent belief that the world around you will shift to align with your desires. As you persist in your assumption, trust that the external world will eventually catch up with the reality you have created within. Your specific person will begin to think about you, and the manifestation will unfold in perfect alignment with your inner vision. The process is simple, but it requires faith in your own power and the patience to allow your desires to manifest in their own time. You are the creator of your reality, and with unwavering belief and persistent assumption, you can shape the world around you according to your deepest desires.